It was around that time the shift started happening, and so we were sort of going, well, maybe it's because we're doing it a little bit differently, but then after a couple months we decided no, the butter itself was different.
That brick of butter in your fridge, the one you grabbed at the mall last week, you thought you were buying something simple, cream, maybe a little salt, but here's the danger hiding in that foil wrapper. What you're calling butter might not actually be butter at all. Light butter, that's 50% water and chemical emulsifiers. Spreadable butter with palm oil mixed in. Legitimate butter from mega corporations using industrial dairy operations that prioritize volume over everything else. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to expose exactly which 9 butter brands you need to avoid and why. I'll show you what's really in them, what it's doing to your body and your baking, and most importantly, what you should be buying instead. By number 3, you'll understand why your baking hasn't tasted right in years. Drop a comment with the brand you're buying right now. Let's see how many show up on this list. 9. B-cell buttery taste. The margarine masquerade. The vegetable oil lie. Industrial chemistry pretending to be butter. Tastes just like butter. Sits in the butter aisle at Sobeys. Packaging looks like butter. Positioned right next to actual butter. Millions of Canadians buy it thinking they're getting butter. B-cell buttery. Taste is not butter, it's margarine. Read the ingredients. Canola oil, water, modified palm and palm kernel oil, salt, whey powder, soy lecithin, potassium sorbat, vegetable monoglycerides, natural flavor. Vitamin A, palmitate, vitamin D, 3, alpha-tocopherol acetate, beta-carotene, citric acid. 14 ingredients. Notice what's missing? Cream, milk, anything remotely dairy. B-cell buttery taste is a vegetable oil spread engineered in a laboratory to approximate butter flavor. Owned by Upfield, multinational margarine producer. Spent millions convincing Canadians their canola oil product equals butter. Here's what those ingredients do to your body. Modified palm and palm kernel oil, chemically altered tropical oils. Processing creates interest-esterified fats. Studies link interest-esterified fats to increased blood glucose, decreased HDL cholesterol, and altered insulin response. Worse metabolic profile than the saturated fat they're replacing. Soy lecithin, emulsifier, keeps the water and oil from separating. Over 90% of North American soy is GMO, sprayed with glyphosate. WHO classified glyphosate as probably carcinogenic. Potassium sorbate, preservative. Real butter doesn't need preservatives. Margarine does because it's an unstable emulsion of water and oil that would separate and spoil without chemical intervention. Vegetable monoglycerides, synthetic emulsifiers. Research links emulsifiers to gut bacteria disruption, inflammatory bowel disease, metabolic syndrome. The science has changed. Trans fats in margarine are worse than saturated fats in butter. Highly processed vegetable oils create inflammatory responses. Replacing traditional fats with industrial seed oils is associated with worse health outcomes. Not better. Seniors who remember when margarine was cheaper. Families on tight budgets at Freshco choosing Beekle because it's $2 cheaper than real butter. Health-conscious shoppers still believing the 1980s myth that margarine is healthier than butter. That vegetable oils are better for your heart than animal fats. The 1980s myth cost a generation their health. Don't let it cost yours. Your fix. If the ingredient list doesn't start with cream, it's not butter. 14 ingredients for a butter substitute means 14 reasons to walk away. Real butter has 1 ingredient, maybe 2 if salted. The butter aisle placement. The margarine ingredients, industrial chemistry pretending to be food. 8. Gay Leah spreadable, the convenience lie, the canola dilution. Butter cut with vegetable oil and sold as innovation. Straight from the fridge. Comes out soft enough to spread. No waiting. No rock-hard butter tearing toast. Smooth, easy, convenient. Except it's not just butter. Ingredients, cream, canola oil, salt. Canola oil makes up approximately 20% of the product. Gay Leah blends vegetable oil into butter so it stays soft when cold. Markets this as a feature. Here's what they don't tell you. Butter solidifies when cold because it's primarily saturated fat. That's what butter does. That's what it's supposed to do. Blend in unsaturated vegetable oil, you fundamentally change the product. No longer butter. Butter oil blend. Canola oil, unless organic and cold pressed, which this isn't, is extracted using hexane, a neurotoxin. Trace residues remain in the final product. Industrial canola is also high in omega-6 fatty acids, promotes inflammation. The very thing butter's natural conjugated linoleic acid helps fight. So you're diluting an anti-inflammatory fat with a pro-inflammatory oil. Paying butter prices. Getting a compromised product. This matters for baking. Butter's solid structure at room temperature creates flaky pie crusts and tender cookies. The way butter melts at specific temperatures gives baked goods their texture. Substitute butter canola blends, recipes fail. Grandmother's shortbread won't turn out. Butter tarts have wrong consistency. Pastry won't flake. Butterfat melts at 32 to 35 degrees Celsius. Canola oil is liquid at room temperature. Different melting behavior means different results in every recipe that depends on butter's unique thermal properties. Parents shopping at Metro see Gay Leah, trusted Canadian dairy brand. and assume spreadable means more convenient. Don't realize they're buying a blended product. Your fix. Spreadable always means vegetable oil has been added. Real butter is hard from the fridge. That's a feature, not a problem. Leave it on the counter 15 minutes before use. Don't pay butter prices for a canola blend. The convenience marketing. The canola dilution. Butter innovation that's actually butter degradation. 7. Lactantia Light. The water scam. The gelatin filler. Paying butter prices for 50% water. 50% less fat than regular butter. The healthy choice? The smart choice for families watching fat intake. Here's what light actually means. Water, skim milk powder, gelatin, and artificial ingredients. Real butter, 80 to 82% butter fat, 15 to 16% water, 1 to 2% milk solids. Lactantia Light, 39 to 40% butter fat. The rest, water and fillers. Ingredients: cream, water, salt, skim milk powder, gelatin, lactic acid, natural flavor, vitamin A, palmitate, beta-carotene. Emulsifier, keeping extra water from separating. Skim milk powder adds back milk solids. Natural flavor makes it taste like butter after they diluted it with water. You're paying butter prices for water, literally. 454-gram package of Lactantia Light at $6. Contains roughly 180 grams of actual butter fat. Regular butter at $7 contains roughly 370 grams of butter fat. You're paying $6 for half the butter plus water and gelatin. The science has shifted. Butter's saturated fat isn't the dietary villain we were told. Butter contains fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K, that your body needs fat to absorb. Conjugated linoleic acid in real butter has anti-cancer properties. Butyrate supports gut health and reduces inflammation. Dilute butter with water? You dilute every one of those nutrients. Half the vitamins, half the CLA, half the butyrate, plus gelatin and natural flavor your body doesn't need. For baking, Lactantia Light is a disaster. Water content is double normal butter. Cookies spread too thin. Pastry turns soggy. Buttercream frosting won't hold structure. Any recipe calibrated for real butter's 80% fat content will fail with 40% fat content. Your grandmother's recipes weren't designed for watered-down butter. They were designed for real butter, and they'll keep failing until you switch back. Your fix? Light butter is watered-down butter with fillers. Always. You're paying the same price for half the product. Buy real butter and use less if you're concerned about fat intake. At least you're getting actual nutrients per gram. The health label, the water filler, paying butter prices for half butter and half nothing. 6. Western Creamery, the regional lie, the Saputo mask, prairie branding hiding a Montreal multinational. Western Canadian butter, name evokes small dairy farms across the prairies. Local creameries, traditional butter making. Western Creamery isn't a network of small Western creameries. Owned by Saputo, same $14 billion Montreal-based megacorporation behind Black Diamond. Dozens of brands across North America. Western Creamery is one product line, manufactured in industrial facilities, sourcing from large-scale dairy operations, optimized for volume and distribution efficiency. The Western part is branding, marketing designed to make Alberta and BC consumers feel like they're supporting local dairy. They're funding a multinational. Saputo sources milk through industrial supply chains, optimizes for cost per unit, manufactures at scale in centralized facilities. The butter could come from dairy operations anywhere in Canada. Western on the label is a name, not a promise of origin. Western Creamery butter is real butter. Cream and salt, no oils or fillers. But it's commodity industrial butter. No terroir, no seasonal variation from grass-fed cows. No connection to specific farms or regions. Same industrial product you'd get from any large-scale manufacturer. Western Canadian families at Safeway choosing it thinking they're supporting provincial agriculture. Seniors in Saskatchewan who've bought it for 40 years. Small-town residents thinking Western means nearby dairy farms. Your fix. Regional branding doesn't mean regional sourcing. Check the parent company. If it's a $14 billion multinational, Western is marketing. The butter is real, but the story is fiction. The prairie name, the Montreal owner. Western Canadian butter from a national conglomerate. 5. Beatrice. The heritage betrayal. The French takeover. Since 1907 means nothing when Paris controls the recipe. Canadian dairy heritage since 1907. Over a century in Canadian kitchens. Tradition, trust, generations of families choosing Beatrice. Beatrice isn't Canadian anymore. Acquired by Parmalat in 1997. After bankruptcy and restructuring, became part of Lactalis Group, now the largest dairy company in the world, headquartered in France. Decisions made in Paris, profits go overseas. The Canadian heritage is just branding. Longtime customers have noticed. Butter doesn't taste the same. Texture is different. Rich, creamy flavor replaced with something more neutral, more industrial, more consistent across millions of packages. That's what happens when heritage brands get absorbed into global corporations. Quality becomes consistency. Tradition becomes efficiency. Canadian dairy farms become supply chain inputs, optimized for cost. Seniors who've bought Beatrice for 50 years, still reaching for it at Sobeys. Families who remember their mothers baking with Beatrice. Older Canadians making butter tarts for Thanksgiving using Beatrice because that's what their grandmothers used. Not realizing the company their grandmothers trusted was sold to foreign ownership decades ago. When multinationals control Canadian butter brands, they control Canadian dairy, set prices, dictate supply chains, determine what quality means. Beatrice isn't Canadian dairy heritage anymore. It's French corporate dairy with a Canadian logo. Your fix, since 1907, is a date, not a quality guarantee. Check current ownership. If a French multinational controls the brand, you're paying for Canadian nostalgia funding European shareholders. The butter may be adequate. The heritage story is fiction. The century-old name, the French owner. Heritage branding hiding corporate acquisition. 4. President's Choice Organics. The organic illusion. The mystery farm. Premium prices for certification without transparency. Certified organic butter. PC Organics. Green labeling. Premium positioning. Better for your family and the planet. President's Choice doesn't own dairy farms. Doesn't produce butter. Retail brand contracting third-party manufacturers under the PC label. Which manufacturers? Which organic dairy farms? What standards beyond basic certification? Nobody knows. Loblaws doesn't disclose. Organic certification means no synthetic hormones, no antibiotics, no GMO feed. That's it. Doesn't mean grass-fed. Doesn't mean small family farms. Doesn't mean traditional methods. Could mean large industrial organic operations meeting minimum requirements while maximizing output. Organic grain-fed cows produce nutritionally different butter than grass-fed cows. Grass-fed butter has 3 to 5 times more CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, higher omega-3s, more vitamin K2, essential for calcium metabolism and heart health, deeper yellow color from beta-carotene in grass. Organic doesn't guarantee any of these benefits, just guarantees the organic grain the cows ate wasn't GMO. Health-conscious families paying $8 to $9 for 454 grams, thinking premium quality. Parents choosing organic for their children. Environmentally conscious shoppers thinking sustainable agriculture. Paying premium for certification and branding. Zero transparency about what's in the package. Your fix. Organic addresses farming inputs, not butter quality. Ask, is this grass-fed? What farm produced it? If the brand can't answer, you're paying premium for a label, not a product. Mystery organic butter at $9 isn't necessarily better than known source conventional butter at $7. The organic label, the mystery farm. Premium prices for certification without accountability. 3. No-name butter. The yellow mystery, the lowest bidder. Commodity butter from whoever charges least. Why pay more? Yellow package. Ultimate budget brand. $4 to $5 for 454 grams. Significantly less than branded butter at $6 to $8. No-name butter is manufactured by whatever contractor offers Loblaws the lowest bid. Which dairy farm supplied the milk? Unknown. How was the butter processed? Unknown. Quality standards beyond basic food safety? None. Loblaws doesn't own creameries. Contracts with manufacturers producing house brands for various retailers. Same facility might make No Name for Loblaws, Compliments for Sobeys, Western Family for Save-On Foods, optimized for cost per unit. Source milk where price is the only consideration. What you're getting: commodity butter, minimum product legally called butter, cream churned, salted, packaged. Meets Canadian standards. No craft, no care, no consideration for flavor beyond basic acceptability. For baking, no-name butter behaves differently. Doesn't cream as well for cookies. Doesn't create as flaky a pastry. Doesn't have rich flavor making butter worth using over oil. Higher water content in commodity butter means more steam during baking. Affects texture. Affects rise. Affects everything. Professional bakers won't touch it. They know butterfat percentage and water content vary between manufacturers. When no-name switches contractors, which they do, your butter changes without warning. Recipe that worked last month fails this month. Different manufacturer, different butter. Same yellow package. Single parents stretching budgets. Seniors on fixed pensions. Students buying butter for the first time, not knowing the difference. Thinking all butter is basically the same. It's not. Butter fat quality varies. Water content varies. Flavor varies. And when the manufacturer changes without notice, everything changes. Your fix? If you can't identify who made it, you can't trust consistency. Budget butter isn't value if it ruins your baking. Buy less of a known product rather than more of an unknown one. Real butter from identified producers costs more per package but delivers consistent quality. The yellow package, the unknown manufacturer. Budget butter from whoever was cheapest this quarter. 2. Kirkland Signature. Costco. The bulk trap. The fridge degradation. 4 packs of butter going rancid before you finish. Costco's house brand. 4-pack. 4 454-gram packages for $18 to $20. Savings seem obvious. Costco members load up. Problem. Butter doesn't stay fresh forever. Real butter absorbs flavors and odors from your fridge. Oxidizes when exposed to air. Goes rancid over time. Best consumed within 1 to 2 months of production. Ideally within 2 to 3 weeks of opening. 4-pack. How long does your household take to use all 4? A month? 3 months? 6 months? Here's what happens. Butterfat contains short-chain fatty acids, butyric acid, caproic acid, that oxidize relatively quickly. Oxidation produces off flavors. Rancid butter contains aldehydes and ketones. Same toxic compounds produced when any fat degrades. That 4th package sits in your fridge for months, absorbing onion and garlic smells, oxidizing every time you open the fridge door, developing off flavors you might not consciously notice, but that affect your food. By the time you open that last package, butter tastes like your refrigerator. Cookies baked with it have off notes. Fat that's oxidized creates inflammatory compounds instead of providing nutrition. Kirkland butter is contract manufactured. Costco doesn't disclose which creamery. Different batches from different facilities. Bulk commodity butter with zero traceability. Your fix? Don't buy more butter than you'll use in a month. Freeze extras immediately if you must buy bulk. Frozen butter keeps 6 to 12 months without degradation. But that 4th pack sitting unfrozen in your fridge for 3 months? That's not savings. That's guaranteed degradation. Buy fresh. Buy smaller quantities. Use it while it's still actually good. The bulk deal. The slow oxidation. 4 packs degrading in your fridge. 1. Great value. Walmart. The Predator brand. The mystery dairy. Walmart selling the cheapest butter legally possible. Great value butter. $3.97 to $4.47 for 454 grams. Compare that to any other brand. Impossibly cheap. Where does the milk come from? Which dairy farms? What practices regarding antibiotics, hormones, animal welfare? Walmart doesn't disclose. Produced by third-party contractors using milk from whoever supplies at the lowest price. No traceability, no transparency. No accountability beyond basic CFIA requirements. Large-scale industrial dairy operations. High-volume processing facilities. Speed and efficiency, not quality or craft. Quality complaints tell the story. Check online reviews. Canadian consumer forums. Reports of great value butter tasting off, strange textures, inconsistent quality, package to package. Some batches fine, others taste weird, smell strange, don't perform in baking. That's what happens when you source from the lowest bidder with minimal quality control. When meeting basic legal standards is your only goal. At $3.97, do the economics. Canadian dairy prices are supply managed. Milk costs producers a set amount. Churning, packaging, shipping, distribution, retail margin, all cost money. How does Walmart sell butter $2 to $3 cheaper than competitors? By squeezing every margin, lowest bid manufacturing, minimal quality oversight, whatever cream is cheapest. Seniors on fixed incomes buying this weekly. Single parents feeding multiple children. Young Canadians on tight budgets. Families where both parents work full-time and still struggle with groceries. Walmart knows who they're targeting. Exploiting Canadians who can't afford $7 butter, selling the cheapest product legally called butter, betting you won't taste the difference, or that you can't afford to care. Go check your fridge right now. If you've got great value butter, understand this. Walmart is betting you're too desperate to care where this butter came from. They're selling you mystery dairy at the lowest possible price and calling it value. You deserve better than butter from unknown sources with inconsistent quality. Your fix? When butter is $2 to $3 cheaper than every competitor in a supply-managed market, the savings come from somewhere. Lowest bid manufacturing means inconsistent quality. Mystery sourcing means no accountability. You deserve to know which farm produced the cream in your butter. Great value guarantees you'll never know. The rock-bottom price, the mystery dairy, the quality complaints, the Predator brand. How to spot real butter. 7 rules. No brand loyalty required, just knowledge. 1. Ingredient list. Cream. That's it. Salted butter, cream, salt. 2 ingredients maximum. If you see canola oil, palm oil, water, skim milk powder, gelatin, monoglycerides, or anything else, not pure butter, walk away. 2. Avoid spreadable. Any butter spreadable straight from the fridge contains added vegetable oils. Real butter solidifies when cold. That's what saturated fat does. Soft at fridge temperature means oil was added. 3. Check fat percentage. Real butter, 80 to 82% butter fat. European style, 84 to 85%. Significantly lower, adulterated with water or fillers. Higher fat means less water. Less water means better baking, better flavor, more nutrients per gram. 4. Look for cultured. Cultured butter, cream fermented before churning, creates complex flavors. Higher diacetyl content, the compound responsible for butter's characteristic aroma. Traditional European method, worth the premium. 5. Grass-fed designation. Grass-fed butter, better omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. 3 to 5 times more CLA. Higher vitamin K2. Deeper yellow color from beta-carotene. Measurably more nutritious than grain-fed butter. 6. Avoid bulk. Don't buy 4-packs unless you'll finish within a month or freeze immediately. Butter oxidizes, absorbs fridge odors. Buy fresh. Buy what you'll consume while it's still good. 7. Small producers, farmers markets, local creameries, regional dairy brands. Higher quality, better sourcing. Transparent practices. Costs more because real butter from identified farms costs more to produce. 10 brands, 10 deceptions. From Beckel's margarine masquerade to Walmart's mystery dairy. From palm oil blends to water-inflated light butter. From regional branding hiding multinationals to heritage names controlled from Paris. This isn't about being a butter snob. This is about corporations targeting families, seniors on fixed incomes, parents feeding children, home bakers following family recipes, and selling them the lowest quality product while exploiting convenience, health fears, and tight budgets. Go check your fridge right now. Read the ingredients. If it's anything other than cream and maybe salt, you're not eating real butter. If it's spreadable, if it's light, if it's great value, you know what to do. Your body will notice. Your baking will notice. Your grandmother's recipes will finally work again. Share this with someone who needs to know. Subscribe so you never miss investigations like this. Your fridge is about to get cleaner. Your baking is about to get better. Now go check your fridge.